Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you are so excited about being here today. We are very, very excited. My name is Nia Haydel, and I am the Vice President for Alliance Engagement and Institutional Transformation at Complete College America. And we are just we are just, I can't even say, keep continuing to say excited enough that we're going to be partnering with you for this great opportunity with our PEP program. So just like in a drum line, one band, one sound. CCA is here to help Arkansas move student success forward through policy, equity, and practice. And this is how we move to scale, just like the marching band with many players who form a unified sound. And we do this working with universities and colleges. So on behalf of our president, Dr. Yolanda Watson Spiva, and the Complete College America team, we are excited to have Arkansas participate in PEP. We want to just let you know that this was a highly competitive process, and 3 states were chosen: Arkansas, Montana, and Oklahoma. So, congratulations on demonstrating a commitment to student success and a willingness to work with us to advance your efforts in policy and practice. You were chosen because of your strength of your partnership with CCA, as well as the commitment from your state leadership and the connection of your state priorities to the PEP initiative. The colleges and universities on this call were selected because of your interest and commitment. So, just to do the work and to improve college success and student outcomes across the state. So, PEP stands for, you hear this a lot, PEP stands for Policy, Equity, and Practice, and how we integrate these concepts with the optimization of data to move our institutions forward to better serve our students. And throughout our time today, we'll talk a little bit more about that and what that means specifically for you. So with that, I would like to welcome Arkansas's Dr. Maria Markham, who is the director of the Arkansas Division of Higher Education, for some opening remarks. Dr. Markham?
Thank you so much, Nia. Make sure everybody has their camera on. I think I do. Yeah, there we go. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. When the opportunity presented itself to work with CCA on this project, we decided to apply because we knew this would provide the resources that we needed for our institutions to really carry out the equity piece of our strategic plan. So we've set some really great goals that are aligned with those goals of CCA, and this is going to give us the tools and the processes to really implement some of those great policy initiatives at the campus level where it really touches students. And we know that we're not going to meet any of those goals without putting some action to the things that we want to achieve. So that was the really attractive thing. We're thrilled to have been chosen as one of the 3 states being served by this initiative. It's going to really facilitate helping us move forward as a state by incorporating all the efforts from CCA and helping us to make good policy decisions for student success around the state. So you guys, you're going to be engaging in discussions all along the way to help us define what we really mean by equity, why it's important for our state, what we want for our students, and how to move that conversation forward with policymakers. We also wanted to provide resources for those of you at the institutions who are working with those students every day. So this project is really well resourced. It gives us that technical assistance and support from national content experts that we just didn't have the capacity to provide for you guys in-house. So institutional and state leadership teams are going to have opportunities to learn strategies for optimizing relationships with policymakers, as well as building capacity around policy language and process to really craft those desired policies through guidance, bringing ideas from concept to draft. So your institutional teams, you're going to be able to expand your data capacity. The post-secondary data partnership and campus technical assistance that you will have the opportunity to participate in will help you optimize data and improve your student outcomes. We also wanted to offer an opportunity for you to collaborate with one another within our state and nationally with those best practice, make sure that we are stealing every good idea that we come across, and we can really connect those to improve student success for all of our students. We also wanted to be elevated in the national dialogue. You know, I complain all the time that we do really, really great things in Arkansas, but because we're a smaller state and we're more rural, we don't seem to get that national attention for some of the great policies that we have. So the network with the other PEP states will give us opportunities to really elevate the things that we are doing in Arkansas. So with that, I want to welcome all of our colleges. We have on the call, and for those of you who don't know, these are our partner colleges. This was also a competitive process. Those of you who stepped up to the plate, we so appreciate the interest that you've shown and the commitment. We know that the leadership at your institutions are going to be essential for keeping this conversation going, but we know who's doing the real work, and those of you on the call today. So we have ASU Mid-South, ASU Newport, Arkansas Technical University, Arkansas Tech University, sorry, East Arkansas Community College, Henderson State. We have National Park College, North Ark College, South Ark College, Southeast Arkansas Community College, University of Pulaski Technical College, or University of Arkansas Pulaski Technical College, I can't talk today, and the University of Central Arkansas. So thank you. I know it's really busy today. A lot of you are having graduation ceremonies, but we appreciate the time that it took for you to step away from that and devote to the success of those future graduates too. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Nia.
Thank you so much, Dr. Markham. So I want to tell you a little bit about Complete College America. Although we've had a strong partnership with Arkansas for a number of years, I just want to make sure that you all kind of know who we are and who's showing up at this party. And so our mission statement is here it is. And we make no apologies for the fact that we are bold national advocates. Our goal is to increase college completion rates and to close institutional performance gaps. And we have moved toward the language of institutional performance gaps and away from achievement gaps because we do believe that if we examine structures and barriers that exist, we can advance student completion goals. So the responsibility is on the institution, the system, not on the student. We do this work through, and our vision is that we envision a nation where everyone who wants to have a post-secondary educational experience or earn a credential of value has the opportunity. And we think that this can be accomplished by creating partnerships across policymakers, institutional leaders, and our community. So we should all invest in making sure that on-time completion is a reality for students. Now we do this through the Alliance, and this is one of our strengths, is that we have a 48 member alliance, which includes states, 39 states and 9 consortia and partners. And we leverage the resources and the relationships and the best practices that are happening across the Alliance so that we're not creating things from scratch. So we know that you're working on something and there's another partner who has a similar concern or strategy, then we partner you up so that you can work together and lighten the lift to get the work done. So the issues are the same. Like I worked on a college campus for my entire career before I came to CCA. And, everyone believes that their issues are uniquely different. So there might be some nuances, but really the big issues are the same across the country. And what we have done is identify what these issues are and develop some strategies that when implemented with fidelity can address these big issues and dismantle some of the barriers that students are experiencing. We do this through our theory of change, and this is how we approach things. Everything is based in research and insights from the field. So we're looking at what's out there, what do we have data to support. We use field experts, so we use individuals who are practitioners, faculty members, researchers to inform our practice and also to work with us as partners in this work. So of course, over the course of this engagement, you will actually interact with some of these great people and they will share their experience and guidance with you. Our theory of change is that we believe focusing on policy, practice, and perspective are all important. So practice, what are the best things that are happening out there on your campus, in your system, and across the nation? What is the perspective that is in framing these, and how do we expand our perspective and on what the issues are and what the students need in order to be able to come up with the best solutions. And then how do we embed these things in policy so that the work we're doing becomes sustainable? Because, we can have really good programs and practices, but sometimes they're only as good as the person who's leading them. So embedding them in policy helps to keep them around for a long time. Now, I've already talked about alliance engagement and making sure that we're working with and networking our alliance members to maximize on the resources that they have, and then being very strategic in the initiatives that we implement. So we know that there are a lot of things happening out there, and people are doing lots and lots of things. So how do we use data to really identify strategic ways that we can get the change that we want to see? Our values are pretty simple. Everything should be centered around what students need. So how do we create institutions that have students at the center and the focus point? With system-wide collaboration, this speaks to what I've mentioned about alliance members, but how do we coordinate across systems, so across Arkansas and at different institutions, so that we're working in the same way? And then also, even on your campus, how do you create systems on your campus that has everyone moving to the same beat in the same direction? Equitable structures and outcomes, looking at our policies and practice to make sure that the things that we are putting in place and the behaviors that we are having really do create equitable opportunities. So not equal, because we recognize that sometimes people need different different populations need different things. So making sure that we have looked at those types of differences and accounted for them. Always looking at scale. CC is go big or go home. And so how do we make sure that we are implementing practices that can be shared across our alliance and across our different partner networks? And then making sure that we are making decisions based on what the data says. It's because we do this work and we work with students and we have a passion. Sometimes there are things that are in our heart. We know that this is what needs to happen, but we like to have data lead the decision because it's much more. It goes a long way when we can say that our feelings are validated by what the data shows. So we have many of you may be familiar with the 5 game changer strategies that we had at the beginning of CCA's founding, and we've just really evolved to realize that okay, we need it's not just 5 things. We have now 4 pillars, and which I'll get to in just a second, and strategies, but identifying that there are a number of things when you put them together that influence the student's perspective and experience. So figuring out like what is our unique role, CCA, the institution, the system, what has changed across the completion landscape over the last few years, and then making sure that we really embed equity into the work that we do. So we've always talked about equity, but really thinking strategically, intentionally about how that shows up in the conversations that we have and the policies that we implement. So we do this work over our 4 pillars. And so our 5 game changers have evolved into this 4 pillar structure. And this really is intended to replicate the student's experience. So with purpose, we're looking at how are students aligning what they want to do with the what they want to do in life, with their academic programs, with what the workforce needs. How are we onboarding them? How are we having conversations with them so they're making choices that are going to really position them in the direction that they want. And then for our adult learners, we have a number of 31, 33 million individuals who have some college and no degree. So how do we bring them back, and how do we adjust our structures so that they can be successful as well? So with our structures, what are the things that are in place that allow students to successfully matriculate through their academic program? So are we clear on the map, where you start and where you end? What milestones that you need to accomplish? Are we looking at what math is appropriate for different majors? Are we looking at, do we have schedules that really meet the complex lives of our students? Or are we still having everything that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 9:50? And then looking at stackable certificates and credentials in a sense that some individuals are not able to persist all the way to a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree on their plan. So is there a way to embed credentialing along the way so if they have to stop out, they walk away with something of value? Then momentum. How do we make sure that we keep them going and get them started? So have we created opportunities to partner with our K through 12 institutions on dual enrollment, or how are we onboarding them as it relates to their gateway courses? Are we only doing AccuPlacer and ACT, or are there other things that we can consider? Credit for this goes into adult learner engagement, but credit for competency, so prior learning assessment. You've been the bookkeeper at the church for 20 years, and now you have to take an entry level um, math class. I don't know. Maybe there's something that you can get credit for. And so looking at how we build momentum for our students. And then all these things can be in place. But if we don't have things such as basic needs, food and housing insecurity, or we're not providing academic support or advising, that's not just registration, it really doesn't matter that we have these other great things because we're not meeting the students at their very basic needs. So we have lots of resources and publications. And like I said, that you all have been an active member of our alliance. And because of that, you have the ability to access all of our things that are on the website. So if you haven't created a profile, we'd love for you to do that. We are not in the habit of sending random texts and emails. We send things that you have indicated are valuable to you. So set up a profile and it becomes more intuitive. So the more you use it, the more that you will be able to it'll align with what you want. And then please follow us on social media. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Brandon Protas.
Great, thank you so much, Nia. My name is Dr. Brandon Protas. I am a strategy director here at Complete College America, and I am leading up the PEP initiative. I know you are all here. We have our project teams here from all of the participating colleges and universities that Dr. Markham mentioned, and you're wondering, what is this about? So here's what we want to talk about is there's three main components to the PEP initiative. So one of the things that's going to be happening is at the state level, we're going to be working with Arkansas around policy to adopt or refine really equity-focused policies on student success and college completion. That's going to happen at the state level. Also at the state level, but also overlapping with the institutional level, you'll see on the right is data. So collecting, analyzing, submitting key performance indicators. We're going to get you working with the PDP, or the Post-Secondary Data Partnership, not just for how you submit your data, but really how you turn data into action. And all of this is to drive the work that you're going to be doing on your campuses. And again, as Nia mentioned, we all at CCA have experience working on campuses. We know what it's like to go through the change process. And so we're going to help you through that process of strategy implementation. So the colleges and the universities are going to focus on the strategies. And in just a second, we'll go through the ones selected by Arkansas. But it's equity and completion, student success strategies that have been chosen. We know and we understand deeply the change process, that sometimes you need to be supported, you need to be guided, given resources along the way. Not only are we going to do that, but we're going to help create communities of practice across the entire state of the participating colleges and universities. So not only are you getting support from Complete College America, but you're also getting support from each other. Now, it's one thing to say, here's what you're going to be doing, but what are you getting in return? So on the policy side, CCA is going to be supporting the state. We've already started doing some of this work around policy audits and recommendations. There's going to be some work this summer where we're going to workshop and talk about how to create equity-focused policy. Depending on the needs, we've gone to other states and provided expert testimony, basically to help you pass the policies that you want to support student success. On the right, I mentioned the Post-Secondary Data Partnership. It's an amazing tool, but it takes a little bit of time to understand what it does, to be informed about it, introduced into it, and then how to use it. And most importantly, not just use it from a technical side, but also the onboarding for how to turn that data into action. Well, CCA is going to be there helping you along the way at both the state and the institutional level. And in the center, of course, just how you've heard me say before, we are centering the colleges and the universities. So you're going to be charged with implementing strategies focused on student success and equity, but you're going to do it with support. We're going to be providing in-person and virtual convenings for workshopping and guiding you through that. We're going to start some of it hopefully this fall, and then we're going to continue it through the duration of the project. That technical assistance is going to be that support from a PEP college coach who we're going to introduce today, and I will tell you, you're going to be so fortunate with who we've selected. Our PEP college coaches are creating action plans and toolkits and resources to be able to guide you through. You're going to be doing the work on your campus, but we're going to make sure that you're doing it within a context and a framework that makes sense for you. And then for some of that networking, we're going to be introducing you to CCA University. It's our new online learning management system that we're about to launch. You're going to be one of the first projects within it. And it's a virtual platform to be able to connect with each other, connect with our college coach, and access those resources. Now, there's other opportunities at the state level. We want to make sure that the learnings that come from the PEP initiative by the end, that those are broadcast through the CCA megaphone and microphone nationally through publications, presentations, podcasts. We're going to find lots of ways to be able to do this. If you've been following the education news, you might have seen just this week, we launched our press releases and there's been a lot of national and state attention regarding PEP. So know that people have their eye out for Arkansas. Over there on the right, since I'm going in that order, we're going to also use our communications team to help elevate the accomplishments of Arkansas. You heard Dr. Markham say there's great things going on in Arkansas and we need more people to be aware of it. But we're going to help try to elevate that, again, using the CCA megaphone and microphone. And then finally in the center, one of the things that CCA is really well known for is our convenings. It's bringing the right people together at the right time to have the right conversations. We understand what it means to facilitate, where it's both the content, but equally important is the process and how you get there. So just a brief overview of the FIT model, or the Foundations for Institutional Transformation. CCA, through our experience for more than a decade leading institutions and systems and states in this work, has really identified this 5-step process. So first, it's identifying the challenges and opportunities. What are the issues for which we need to solve? Well, we're already at step 2 of convening a diverse team. And so each college and university that's participating had to submit their project teams with the specific identified project leads in the different areas who are going to be deeply involved with this work. Now, it's not just going to be you who are involved who are on this call, but you're going to go back and you're going to become leaders on your campus, leading others who are going to be involved with this as well. When we get together in person to do that technical assistance, we're going to rally around that shared vision of student success. You will be actively creating action plans through the resources that we provide you that help you identify the first, second, and third step along the way. A lot of it's going to be through reflection, where we help get you to the point where you identify the resources on your campus, the key people, the timelines that you need to do to be able to carry out the work. And finally, we know that it's not a one and done deal, but it's continuous improvement. So that's going to be built into what we do for how you look at and continuously improve on your efforts. Here's what we know it takes to be successful at your college or university. And I'm talking really specifically to the project teams who are on this call today. Again, you were selected first as a state and then as a college or university. That was also a selective process because we were looking for those who have that commitment for student success. Regardless of where you're starting, it's the commitment and that dedication that are key assets to be able to move forward. We were looking for the colleges and universities that have that readiness and the capacity to be able to move forward. We know that there can be a lot of initiative fatigue, and we're actually not trying to create new initiatives, but in the institutional applications, we asked what was already going on your campus so we could find the through line with what's happening already and how PEP can fit into and enhance the work you're already doing. We were looking for project teams that are going to be able to learn new information about how to look at data, as I mentioned, through the PDP, who will be able to take that capacity, submit the data, get the dashboards back, and then be able to say, how do we use this data to drive action? And finally, we were looking at the strength of the project leads and the teams. We want to make sure it's not just the institutions that we have, right, but that we're selecting the right people. So in terms of the timeline, this grant and the project that's been funded through the Ascendium Group through Complete College America has already started in terms of the state selection and the institution selections. What's happening now and throughout the summer is we're doing these PEP rallies. We started off with PEP rally music. At the state level, we're starting some of the data conversations. We've actually started some of the conversations around the policy work that's going to continue on through the summer. As you heard me reference before, we're looking at dates for the kickoff in the fall for that technical assistance in person. That in-person piece is important for a few reasons. We need to start building that network among and across the institutions and the project teams participating in Arkansas. We want you to meet our college coach in person. The technical assistance will then continue through the rest of the project, which will go through August of 2024. And what you'll see is there's going to be networking through CCA University. The data collection will continue. We're going to have more CCA convenings. There's going to be more support for the PDP and the policy work related to that. And then there's going to just be a lot of support, some nudging, some accountability, making sure with regular check-ins with our college coach, who's going to check in both each institution at a time on a regular basis, as well as across institutions with role-alike things. So times, let's get all the director of advisors together and build some of those networks. It's those conversations that are necessary, but don't always happen on campus. And I can tell you, I remember from my experience, which was not that long ago being on a campus, sometimes we were so busy doing that we didn't have the time for the reflection and planning, and having someone who could help guide you through and a resource to be able to do that makes the difference. So with that, I would like to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Mason Campbell. He's the Assistant Director for Policy and Student Success at the Arkansas Division of Higher Education. And he's going to share the specific strategies that Arkansas has selected and talk about from an Arkansas perspective. Go ahead, Mason.
Thanks, Brandon. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome again to the initiative. As Brandon said, I'm Mason Campbell. I'm the Assistant Director for Policy and Student Success at the Division of Higher Ed. What I want to do is just sort of further connect all of these pieces. Brandon did an awesome job, of course, but from a state level perspective, how does CCA, the Division of Higher Ed, and your institution all fit together in this initiative focused on equity in policy and practice? So I want to start with our division overall statewide strategy. As Dr. Markham mentioned, we have a new 6-year strategic plan for our division with the overall goal to close some attainment gaps at both the state and regional levels. And when I say attainment gaps, what I really mean is that some very smart people down in our research department determined our anticipated credential production over the next 6 years. And the very smart people down at the Department of Information Services have identified the number of open workforce positions we have now and the number of workforce positions we will likely need over the next 6 years, which clearly identifies an attainment gap that we're trying to close. So the plan also focuses specifically on equity in policy and practice. You'll see as our third goal right there. Policy primarily, as Brandon said, at the state level, and practice primarily at your institutional level. So this initiative fits perfectly into our plan. So super quick rundown of the highlights of our strategic plan. These are our 4 broad strategic goals. And as we leverage these strategies within these goals, we will increase the percentage of adult Arkansans with a college credential to somewhere in the 55% range, which is very attainable for us, which is what we need. If you will, Brandon, back one, if you would, I'll hit these goals really quickly. So credential attainment focuses on statewide high demand areas across all levels of credentialing. Affordability focuses on training, support, and communication to improve affordability for our students. And I wanted to say affordability plays a big role in equity as we begin addressing financial and policy barriers for our students. And then our third goal, as I said, is equity, and that goal hits the full range of operation and mission. So recruitment, admissions, curriculum, retention, communication, everything in there. And then workforce development, we focus on regional needs. So high demand areas to match workforce needs in your area. So it's a really quick rundown of our plan, which is really the core of what we will use at the state to move us forward. So Brandon has already mentioned these pillars, and so has Nia. Pillars and strategies. And I just want to reiterate that Arkansas has already been heavily involved in so much of the great work within these pillars. So we've all spent a lot of times on things like the structure pillar, like math pathways, meta majors, and stackable credentials. In the momentum pillar, we've all done, I think we now all offer co-requisite remediation. We all offer multiple measures across the state. In the support pillar, we've done lots of advising and academic support workshops. So from a state initiative standpoint, we've heavily engaged in the structure, momentum, and support pillars for CCA. So our focus will now be on the purpose first pillar. So we know that equity, it has to be embedded into everything that we do, all of our goals. but it makes the most sense for us to use an equity lens on our purpose first pillar now, because we have to be on the solid ground moving forward. Our students have to be on solid ground moving forward. So starting with purpose makes the most sense for us. So we will be pairing the PEP initiative and these purpose first CCA strategies with our departmental and statewide efforts in our strategic plan and with our goals, and with institutional efforts, the great things that you already have going on your campus to move the needle on closing those performance gaps. And as Brandon said, each institution team has been created with the right folks in the room to move the strategies forward. So now we've all got you on board. We need you to engage with your coach and begin tying it all together and begin the work. So specifics briefly on the purpose first pillar. And I want to say this, and I'll say it again, and Brandon also said it, Nia said it. Each of these will look slightly different at your institution. So we will continue to encourage all of you to not consider these 4 strategies narrowly. We want to tailor them to your needs, and we'll consider your needs as we build out the support for each one. So I'm going to briefly frame each of these, but again, they're going to look different for each of you. So starting with first year experience, consider the full scope of FYE programming with an equity lens. So everything from recruitment practices, onboarding practices, all types of orientations and communications and messaging. Our affordability goals also clearly challenge us at a state level to do better raising awareness and incentivizing students. So within the FYE strategy, we can also use an equity lens to help students with funding and affordability. So we can also trace FYE clearly back to retention, FYE folks in the room, which is always a metric that we can do better on. For career exploration, we'll continue to work on pulling together stakeholders to work towards a shared vision of workforce training. It's one of the many reasons why our division has to stay engaged, is because our state agencies, regional workforce agencies, business and industry, all level of education, everybody needs to collaborate more. And we can also do better at sharing out wage and job placement data with you and with our students. And we've got some things in the works that are going to allow us to do that better as well. And then, of course, improving career services and mentoring services. For academic and career alignment, we want to be sure that our educational planning is clearly connected to our career planning, and that connection is also clearly communicated. So as you know, this strategy, this alignment is also closely connected with career exploration, the one before it, and is crucial from day one during onboarding. That alignment is. So some great things we can do in career and academic alignment. And then for adult learner engagement, it's a difficult population for all of us already. And as a state, we already include adults as one of our underserved populations that we target to increase credential production. But adult learners have their own unique sets of needs and goals. We also have some communication challenges to overcome, because we know marketing to adult learners is very difficult. So to sort of bring it all home, we would really like to see each institution maintain and utilize the PEP initiative as a priority. And in order for it to really get traction, we need you to integrate it with your individual campus initiative. So whatever your focus is on your team, want to find a way to work the work you're already doing, because that work is appropriate for your institution and your community. And if you accomplish your goals, you're helping the state and CCA accomplish our goals as well. So I think Brandon said it earlier, we have all worked on college campuses, and we know you're all incredibly busy, but one of the most important things for us is communication. So we can provide you the support that you need. So I would ask moving forward that everybody put communication efforts at the top of your list for this initiative. So now that we have you on board, we can begin to work together to make some sustainable changes that will make a big difference for our state for equity. I think that concludes my statements, Brandon. And I get to introduce Dr. Richard. I think perhaps I need to let her share her background and impressive list of credentials, unless Brandon has that queued up.
Actually, we're going to have Dr. Richard do that herself. I will just say, and let me put myself so people can see me. I will just say briefly in introduction, we thought very deeply about having the right CCA PEP college coaches for this initiative, and very specifically of making sure who we have for the connected to the states. There was no question in our mind of who could be a better fit for Arkansas than Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard. I'm going to let her introduce herself so she can talk about her background, deep background working in colleges, and how she's going to be working with each one of you on your project team. So with that, Dr. Richard.
Oh, thank you, Brandon, and good afternoon, everyone. I am excited to be here. I'm excited. The pep rally is what it is to really get us kicked off on what I see as one of the most exciting initiatives. Brandon and Nia, Mason, Maria asked that I share with you my background. I am a former chancellor of the Technical College for the state of Louisiana. And prior to that, I worked on a college campus for 20 years. I probably worked in every area, academic and student support services, as well as served as dean as workforce development. So I come to you with lots of years of experience and also recognizing that the challenges are still the same that we have in terms of helping our students complete college. Complete College is, I got excited to become part of the Complete College America team because this is still one of the most critical issues in our work. What will I do for you in terms of the project? We've talked about technical assistance. We've talked about resources that they say this is well resources. And we all know working in higher ed, many times you get a mandate or something that comes down without resources. Well, I'm here to tell you, I am going to be your technical resource working directly with your college, as I have had an opportunity actually to look at basically the profile of each of your institutions, getting a feel for who you are and what's going on your campuses. And I'll be in touch with you to talk more about how can we improve student outcomes and overall success. As we look at what you are currently doing, you've heard words like alignment, and we're going to look at purpose first. Well, in doing that alignment, you also heard that we want to integrate our work PEP with what you're currently doing. So it's not like a completely new initiative, but looking at what you're doing along the lines of student success and aligning it with the pillars and the strategies and the strategic plan for the state as well as for your institutions. And this is an exciting time because many times you get these mandates or such that come down without having any true resources, but we are here to help you. We will be there, as Brandon mentioned, we'll be creating tools and resources, toolkits and guides, and the opportunity to share information across the state with state colleges and universities, as well as bringing to you what we learn from other states. So we all will have something that we can learn from one another. And I'm excited about having the opportunity to do that, to be part of the team. As Brandon mentioned, we will be doing our sessions virtually as well as an in-person visit. And I look forward to scheduling that and visiting with you all to really get to know you. We're going to have a great time doing it because one of the things that I've always enjoyed about higher ed and working in it is watching how we can help transform individual lives, help people achieve their goals, their dreams, and put things in motion, not just for a day, but for, we talk about one and done. We are hopeful that the work that we do in prep becomes part of what you actually do in your institutions to help students improve outcomes, success, and graduation, most of all. I think Brandon, Nia, is there anything else you would like for me to add right now? But if not, I'll pass it back to Brandon.
Why don't you stay on the screen, and Mason, if you can come on the screen as well. What we would like to do is open this up for Q&A. Because we are in a webinar, if you could submit any questions that you might have, or answers, I suppose, in the comments or the Q&A section. While that's going, we'll give a couple minutes for that. If you have questions, you can reach out to either Mason or to me, and we are sharing our contact information there. We know we're at the end of the school year, and so we want to make sure that you're aware of this so you can start thinking about this and getting excited during the summer. The actual work for the project teams will kick off in the fall, but we want to make sure that you entered into the fall with the knowledge of this going on. Mason, any other final comments while we wait to see if there's questions coming into the chat?
I don't believe so. I believe you said earlier we've already started the work on the policy audit. So I hope to share more with the institutions on how we can impact state level policy soon, very soon. Hope to.
We'll give it just another minute or so. I will say we are really excited. The person for the folks on the call now, the project teams who you will know most and intimately and well is Dr. Richard. She is going to take her dozens of years of higher education experience leading a system in Louisiana and being able to take that expertise and tailor it specifically to Arkansas. I just want to give it another few seconds. I'm not seeing questions come into the chat or into the Q&A. People can follow up afterwards. But if not, I think what we'll do is we'll bring this webinar to a close. We're excited to work with you and we're really excited to have a strong kickoff in the fall.